Sanbanan, welcome to my page, and if you're following me from YouTube, welcome to my channel. Today I want to speak about psychological safety and why it matters. Last week I told you a story about my first permanent job, how I had a manager that was difficult, no handover. I had my first meeting with a team that walked away from me, angry at me. Yes, I was nervous, knees shaking, voice shaking, but I managed to go through that meeting and many, many more other meetings to follow. But yes, my time in that organization, it was one, where there was intimidation, fear, and just, being humiliated. I came through. Yes, I learned, found a way through. I managed to build that team into a high performance team. But what I didn't tell you was, just how I felt inside, while everything was happening. I didn't tell you about the self doubt, constant questioning whether I was the problem or not, the loneliness of not being able to talk about it fully. Because, really, abuse is very tricky. You begin to question your reality. You are full of shame. You isolate yourself, and you really cannot. Somehow, I don't know. Your mind just you can't process everything because you're just not fully present. And if somebody is going through something similar today, I just want to encourage you and say, hey, this video is for you. And if you're an HR manager or HR business partner or a leader in your organization, then you too, please stay with me because, you're going to get value from this video. What is psychological safety? This is a concept that gave me the language, of everything that I experienced in my first role. And I've seen this as well over the, 25 years I've worked in different organizations. Psychological safety, we must be clear because these days it's a word that's being used and oftentimes being, misused a lot. But this is not, about being comfortable at work, being nice to each other, avoiding hard conversations. It's really the belief that is held by a person that, if I speak up, I will not be humiliated. I will not be punished. I will not be dismissed. If I raise an opinion, if I ask a question, I'm really working in a safe environment where, my input is valued, my contribution in form of questions is valued. This is a concept that was coined by Professor Amy Edmondson from Harvard, who spent decades researching this and, together with Googling, where they were studying high performance teams for 2 full years. And what they found was that, psychological safety is the single biggest predictor of team performance. It's not talent, how talented people are, or how experienced they are, or like, do they have the money to perform? Like to fund their product. It's not really all those things, but how safe they feel to bring their full, selves to work. Do they work in an environment that is safe to do so? What does the absence of psychological safety look like? When I look back into, my first work environment, I see that there was a complete absence of psychological safety. And I just want to share what that does to a person, just sharing this from an individual, because sometimes, we read things through books, but yeah. Anyway, so the first thing is that it just makes you question your own reality. When somebody humiliates you in front of colleagues, and the organization just goes on as normal, as if nothing happened, you start to wonder if you imagined it, if you're being too sensitive. Is this just how things work? Is the problem? Are you the problem? Are you too sensitive? Are you too soft? Maybe should you, toughen up? You question your own reality. And this is like one, gaslighting. Now we have a language for it as well. It's one of the most damaging things that can happen to you at work because, you're expected to be productive. And the second thing is that, an unsafe environment makes you feel smaller. It doesn't happen at once. You lose your confidence gradually. It just silence your voice. You start avoiding asking questions. You start, avoiding raising concerns because that as well may be questioned or dismissed. You don't bring new ideas because you're fearful. I think you get into this mode of just being fearful, and you then forget slowly and quietly that you have more value. You are built for more. There's actually more that you can contribute. And the third thing is that it just isolates you. You can't talk about it, but even if you talk about it, the emotions, you sort of like don't believe that people can get it. And there's that issue of trust as well. Who do you trust? Are they going to go and talk to that person again? So hence, just trying to survive in that environment, that was me like just going to cry in the toilet. And it's not because I was weak, but just because that I was human, and I was just carrying, something heavy. Because of the stress, it's night, you can't sleep. At work, you're there, but you're just present. You know what they call presentism. You try and be productive, and it's just taking you twice the energy to do what you need to do, you know. Um, and so that environment is really not one conducive for you to grow. And to somebody going through it, I think my heart goes out to you and to our HR teams, HR managers. It's just an earnest plea that don't turn a blind eye to the situation, because we know that currently there are teams, people that are going through. We can name them, and oftentimes it can be difficult to address it. The waters can be murky, and we are constantly navigating loyalty, office politics, the legal risk, the human pain, and there's just no clear answer. But it's really worth it, to act, because we can't watch our employees go through these things and be quiet. When you see people stressed because they are bullied, you see the increase in them taking sick leave. That's not just, you know, something that's happening in isolation. It's organizational data. It's telling us something about the culture that we're trying to build, or allowing it to thrive. There's a version of HR that protects the organization from its people, and there's a version of HR that protects the people from the organization or within the organization. Both versions exist, and we must just be courageous enough to choose right, even when it's hard. Choose right, especially when it's hard. And to the person that is in the room who is surviving this right now, or the person with power to change what that room feels like, I hope you make the right decision. Psychological safety is not a nice to have. It is the foundation of performance, team performance, of organizational growth, of people being able to be fully present at work and remain productive. Before I close, the cost of psychological safety is not just human, it is financial, it is strategic. Um, when people don't feel safe, your best talent will leave the organization. Innovation will stop. Productivity will drop quietly and invisibly so, while everybody will still look busy. And that culture will then replicate itself downward until fear becomes the order of the day, just how things are done here. And that becomes a business problem, and you start leaking revenue. Next week, I will go deeper and discuss the cost of psychological safety at length. I will just expand. And I look forward to that discussion with you. Thank you.